Hello friends, SentinalhMC here, and welcome back to our ChromatiCraft tutorial series. In this episode, I'm going to talk about two items, one of which we're going to experiment with and see how it works, and the other one I'm going to show you a preliminary of, and we're going to see if we can't figure it out, but I don't know exactly how it works, but I think I do. So we're going to take a look at both of these, and yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy it. So, today is my birthday, by the way. So happy birthday to me. Okay, so the first item that we're going to be taking a look at is, both of them are down here in the rune crafting section. We'll be taking a look at this thing called the recall tablet. Now, if you look at the description on the recall tablet, it says you've gotten lost so many times you probably have more resources sitting in random when you return chests and you head back at home. And now you've done it again. Fed up with this, you've created a tablet that will let you instantly warp back to where you inscribed it. However, you appear to have done a rather poor job, as the thing is nearly as dangerous as teleporting blindly and hoping you do not end up suffocating in a wall. Okay, so apparently, when you use this, it teleports you back to where you made it. I assume that's what it means. But it teleports you maybe not so accurately, so maybe you might end up somewhere else. So we're going to see how, we're going to go ahead and craft it, and we're going to test it out. I haven't never used this before. We're going to test it out and see what it does. So, in order to craft it, you need 2 ore dusts, an iron ingot, a Zvesti crystal shard, and a Zvesti elemental stone. Now you acquire these elemental stones by mining them. Once you've received the proper progression, you'll see these pop up, and you can get them out of the ground. When they're in the ground, in the ore, the icon looks exactly the same as it does in your hand. So you can tell what it is. Alright, so I'll throw these down here, and now we have to place the runes. Okay, so for this recall tablet, the only rune is Zvesti. 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks to the right, y equals 0. So at the same, 4 blocks to the east at the same height as the casting table. So we'll grab our Zvesti crystal rune. 1, 2, 3, 4 would be right there. Yep, now we can cast ourselves a recall tablet. Now we have it. So let's test it out. Let's go away from our base there, away from where we were, and we'll right click with this and we'll see what happens. I wonder if you get to keep it. It's really cheap. I wonder if you get to keep it or if it breaks. Oh! Okay, that's very interesting. Alright, so I was completely wrong about how it works. So, when you craft it, it's not initially active. You apparently have to right-click with it, and that inscribes the location. That makes more sense, actually. Alright, it means you can use it to teleport wherever you want. So, we're going to go ahead and just grab one out of ChromatiCraft Tools. I'm pretty sure that's where it is. There it is. Recall tablet. So, if I right-click with it, it lights up. It's now linked to around the coordinates that I was in when I right-clicked it in dimension 0. I like how it says linked to around. So basically, we can go wherever we want to go. So I don't know. Let's go underground because that's like the intended purpose, right? You're down under the ground. You're in a mine. You're somewhere really far away from where you in your base. Here's some elemental stones, by the way, and now you're using this thing to get home. So let's right-click with it. It's not working. Are we too close? We're probably too close. You'd probably never use it from over there. You probably have to be a minimum distance away, I would imagine. I mean, it's linked to around that location, so I might have just been in the around that location area. We're just going to go like down here. We're just going to break through the floor a bunch and be underground in a random location. Now I'll right-click with it. It's not working. Oh! Maybe you have to view the sky or something. Well, that worked. Of course, we end up with nausea whenever we use it. Interesting. I'll link it. So, let's test this out again. It looks to me, it's starting to seem to me, at least, seeming to me as we're using it, that, oh wow, is that a meteor strike location? There's a bunch of ore right there. That you have to be, oh, and there's a meteor from Planet 62. It's starting to seem as though I don't want to generate too many chunks. Or anyway, we'll just run over here. We're a decent distance away, and we'll kind of go like down into a cave, and then we'll right click. Nothing. Right click. Nothing. We'll go over here, right click. No. As soon as we step out under the sky, right click. Okay. Yep. So you can't use this underground. You do have to have a view of the sky above you. It does get consumed, so this is a one-time use item. That's why it's cheaper. So I wouldn't work on relying on this stuff, but it does appear to work, and it teleports you to roughly the location that you inscribed it in. So as long as you've inscribed it in an open area like this, you should be fine. So you got to have view of the sky above you. So if you are in a cave, you're going to need something like the subterranean route finder if you want to get yourself out of there. Otherwise, you just have to look straight up and use like some sort of mining laser to just mine all the blocks above you till you have a view of the sky, and then you could right click and use it. This sounds pretty funny. This sounds pretty cool. Okay. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is the thing that I'm pretty sure that I know how it works, right? We're going to go ahead and use it, and we're going to show you how it works. The aura tracker. Now, if we go into our chromatic lexicon and we go down here and we look at the aura tracker, we look at its description. It's pretty clear as what it does. The buried, slightly and deeply structures in various biomes from which you have learned the bulk of your knowledge of manipulating crystal energy. It's talking about the grottos and the crystal hollows and the places that you find these little randomly generated structures, and you go in there and you get your knowledge fragments. All right, if you remember, what we're talking about here are things like the crystal shrine that spawns under the ground, things like the crystal burrow that spawns with an opening to the outside, things like the ocean temple, I'm imagining, and then the sandy burrow, which is the same thing but found in the desert. These are all the, not all of them, but these are the structures that you're going to use. You're going to find that will get you your knowledge fragments in the early game. So the aura tracker is ostensibly a way for you to find these things more easily. Okay? Now, just like with anything in Reika's mods, don't expect this to point you to the pinpoint location. I've used it a bit, and I still haven't managed to find one of these structures using it, but I'm pretty sure I know how it's working. So we'll take a look. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. It won't give you the pinpoint location, but it will give you an area to look in. That's very similar to a lot of the other things that he does. But if you combine this with other things from other mods, like RotaryCraft's, how do I have copper ore in my inventory? If you combined it, for example, with RotaryCraft's ground penetrating radar, then you could probably find it much more reliably and pinpoint the location of these ChromatiCraft structures. I've used this in the past to find the ChromatiCraft structures, but combining it with the aura tracker could help make it a lot easier. So in order to craft the aura tracker, you need some boosted shards. 2 of them, doesn't matter the color, you just need boosted shards. You also need 4 aura dust, okay? And then you need an iron ingot. No, it goes over there. You need an iron ingot, a block of stone of any type. Any of these decorative stones that I have will also work, and a block of obsidian. Okay, now in order to actually cast it, you gotta place the runes, and this one has a pretty complex rune pattern. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna place our yellow ones. We're gonna go north 1, 2, 3, 4, and then to the west 1, 2. So we'll get that out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That puts the Katrina rune right there. Okay. We won't have to do that. I'll just grab this and then we'll just right click on it. I mean, hit R on it. Then 1, 2, 3 forward north and 1 to the east will be our Asvesti rune. So 1, 2, 3. Did I do that right? 1, 2, 3, and 1 to the east at y equals -1. So 1, 2, 3, 1 to the east, y equals -1 will actually put us underneath that. Interesting. I didn't know that there were runes underneath those. And then 1, 2, 3 to the east and 1 to the south. will be the blue one, Nilla. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1 to the south puts us underneath here. And then, nope, I don't want to look at that. I want to look at this. And then 1, 2 to the south, and 1, 2, 3 to the west will be the Kuro rune. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And that should let us cast it. There we go, the aura tracker. We can now cast it. Blue, blue. Now we have our aura tracker. We already have one, so we'll just keep using it. So if you hold it in your hand, you'll see some particles emanating from it. And you can right-click to actually change the color of those particles, as well as turn them off completely. So I'm pretty darn sure that what this is doing, because if you right-click on it, you'll see that the particles are basically flowing in a direction, okay? So these red particles are flowing off in that direction. These sort of white particles are flowing off in that direction. And these green particles are flowing off in that direction. So I'm pretty sure what this is there are 3 different structures that this thing is pointing us to around our location. And so what we'll do then is we'll follow the let's actually follow the red ones. I want to follow the red ones again. I was trying to find the actual structures, but you know, I wasn't really able to. So if we keep following, well, we have to stop every so often because obviously they're actually being projected, so you'll outrun them. So we see that the particles are still pointing in this direction, so we'll keep moving in this direction. And what I find is that at a certain point, the particles that you get actually will change. There we go. So now we can see that our particles have changed. We have these little starbursts rather than just the red particles. And there's also another change. They're no longer flowing in a specific direction. They're just sort of sparkling around the wand. And it'll continue to do this within this area until you move a certain distance away from where it happened. And so now we can see that the particles are back to red and they're flowing in this direction. So once we go back over here, we'll see that once again now the particles have the little starbursts. And this leads me to believe what this is doing is this is the general chunk area that has one of these. In this case, it'd probably be a sandy burrow because we're in the desert. But it's still going to be up to us to actually find it, which is very similar to the way that, let's say, the meteorite compass from Applied Energistics works. It only shows you the chunk that it's in. It doesn't actually point you to the exact location, although this right here looks a lot like a sandy burrow. Oh yeah, there's shielding stone here. Okay, I didn't see this earlier, but now I do. So we've found the sandy burrow using the aura tracker. Very cool. And it now looks like the particles are actually kind of flowing down there, although that might just be me because once you stop moving, they kind of flow in a direction. But there we go. Oh, good lord. I forgot about those explosion sound effects. That scared the ever-loving heck out of me. Holy cow. Now that I've had a heart attack, we're down in our sandy burrow, which, if you remember, has a lot of spawners in it, but also a lot of good stuff. A lot of chests with, you know, info fragments and crystal shards and random magical things, as well as shielding cracks, which are the only stone that you'll be able to break in here. Silverfish, which I absolutely abhor. That looks really cool. And blaze spawners, of course. Your goal here is to break the crystal pylon in the center, which allows you access to the main loot chests, which have the best things. It gives you a bunch of info fragments, including a desert fragment, which I'm not really sure what it does, and will allow you to then break the shielding stone in order to get out of here. Because if I wasn't in creative, I wouldn't have been able to break the shielding stone until after I did that. Alright, so we used the aura tracker and we successfully found ourselves a one of these. Now if we start right-clicking with it, it no longer shows up. So it would appear that the aura tracker is searching for that crystal pylon thing at the center, the thing you have to break, which is very smart because it means that once you've explored it and broken it, it'll no longer show up on your aura tracker. So whenever your aura tracker shows you these particles, there is an actual one that you haven't found yet that it is pointing to. And of course, now that there's a bunch of mobs down there, it's pretty easy on your map to see where that is. Okay, so now we've got the green sparks. We got green sparks. I don't know if they're color coded. I don't know if, for example, green sparks always equal the little grovey ones that you can, the crystal groves, and the red ones always equal desert, or if it's just that's the colors that it happened to use. But according to the aura tracker, there is another pre-generated ChromatiCraft structure somewhere in the vicinity. But of course, we would have to spend the time to find it ourselves, because it's not going to point us directly at it. It's showing us, hey, it's in this location. You can use your other tools or just search around blindly to find it. It's going to be here, but I'm not going to paint you a map. You got to put in a little bit of effort yourself, right? So that appears to be the way that the aura tracker works. We did successfully find, I don't know, let's see, if these are color coded and the green is pointing you to one of the ones that shows up on the surface a little bit, it'd be nice to know that, because I'm sure Reika will let us know, because then you'd know what you're looking for, rather than just, is it a crystal burrow? Is it one of the burrows I can see from the surface? It might work that way. I just don't know yet. We've managed to find one, and that's the aura tracker. So it's not very expensive, and I definitely recommend it, because the primary method of getting info fragments is finding these things. The aura tracker is an invaluable tool. It's going to show you the general vicinity, and then, like I said, if you want to combine it with, say, the RotaryCraft ground penetrating radar, which is what shows you like slices of the ground, if you do that, you're gonna find it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of my birthday, because I got my day off of work and it's great. So thank you guys so much. If you liked this video, do leave a like and then comment down below if you have any questions. Join our Discord if you're interested. Reika actually started talking on our Discord, which was quite fun. And he's making Factorio mods, by the way, at the moment. So if you play Factorio, Reika has mods for it, which is great. But don't ask him to make RotaryCraft in Factorio. It's not going to happen. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm SentinalH, and I'm signing out.